What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another NBA Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I got everybody back with me after quite an exciting night in the association. Tyler, how are you today? And how do you fans on the East Coast deal with a half hour of replays in the last 2 minutes of the game?
I mean, my blood pressure was so high because Scott Foster was just doing everything he could to hand that game to the Clippers. And then DeAndre Ayton had to save us with 1 second left on the clock and put Zubac on a poster for the fourth time that game.
Yeah.
I mean, we were watching him catch alley-oops left and right that game. He just looked like a man amongst boys, and I think he looks like that for the rest of the series. So give me Phoenix. I think the Clippers win the next one, but I think Phoenix finished them off in 5.
All right, JSU, what did you think of the game last night? I mean, a lot of ups and downs. I mean, it was so much fun, but they just fixed the shooting foul things. Supposedly, they got to fix this replay.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Tyler where it did feel like the refs were doing everything possible to. I mean, at the end of the day, though, they can't get Paul George to. They can get him on the free throw line. They can't make him make those free throws, right? Like,
Pandemic P is back.
Yeah. If you think about it, though, that's wild. Those free throws were like pretty much the game. Like, I mean, that was huge. Where even if he makes one free throw, then the game's tied with that alley-oop dunk because they would still run that. They would still run that play, right? They would have still ran that exact same play down 2. Now, if you made both of them, it's different because they don't run that play, right?
Right.
So, because it would have been a 3-point game, correct? Going into that inbound. So, it just changes the entire game. It's wild, but in the end, the Suns did win. I think on the show yesterday, I was talking up the Clippers +5 or +4.5, whatever you're getting at. So that was a good bet. And then the under spread, we got the under bet.
Yeah.
In which we said it, Tyler. The shooting numbers went down, right? You saw that right after the first quarter. If you bet the under after that first quarter, you were sitting there licking your chops like, yep, I caught the bad shooting game. Yeah, like I caught the bad shooting game today. So it was definitely good. And it was a fun game to watch, though. I mean, Pat Bev breaking Devin Booker's nose, it looked like. And then did you see him pointing to the ref? Like, I'm bleeding too.
Yeah.
He's bleeding. He's bleeding on the court. But it's like, he's got blood all over his shirt. And he's like, I'm bleeding too, dude. Like, I mean, I don't know if he did that on purpose. I wouldn't put it past him if he did that. I think he kind of did do it on purpose. You know what you're doing when you reach in and you lean your head forward? Like, what are you doing, buddy? But whatever. I mean, Devin Booker's a trooper. He got out there and got to give him credit, right? He had a tough game overall, like if you take in the entire game, but if you just look at what he did when he came back from those he made a lot of tough shots, like shots where I felt like the game was starting to go the Clippers' way towards the end, and he was the one guy just kind of keeping them there, right, at the end of the game, where you can say he struggled and Pat Bev did a good job for most of the game, but man, when the game's on the line, get that dude the ball and get out of his way because he was good. And then we talked up the campaign captain. If you were in the the NBA show, the Up to Lock show with me and Tony, I mean, we said it on here. I know Mangone talked it up a little too on here. I said it on here too, but we talked it up big time. He was in my core. My core did really well. We even talked about going under on Devin Booker and maybe fading Devin Booker in some of these builds where we like PG more than Booker. Me and Big T both agreed on that. So, man, if you watched the show last night and you took the core, I mean, you should have had a decent night and cash in for sure.
Yeah, and my mistake was I put Booker in there. And so I don't think any of builds with Booker were able to make it because it cost you so much on the other players. Travis, what were your thoughts on last night? And I mean, we got to fix this replay, right? I mean, we're all in agreement here, right? Half an hour for the last 2 minutes, too much?
Yeah, a little too much, right? The thing is, East Coast will just stay up for the game no matter what, so it doesn't matter. They don't care about us that much. But overall, Suns in 5 is looking good. That's kind of where I've been leaning is what could happen here. And is Kawhi putting the cape on and coming out soon? Like, what's going on? Like, that's the thing I'm really wondering, because they haven't ruled him out for the series. They're not saying a word about his injury. So I don't know if you guys have heard anything. That's what I'm really curious about. I'm very curious what on earth is going to happen with Kawhi. Does he somehow try and suit it up even though he is playing hurt? Clippers, again, they've been more impressive than I think I would have thought throughout the first 2 games. And Campaign did what I thought, right? He would chuck the ball up a ton like he always does. I mean, he is a selfish guy. So it worked out pretty well for DFS. The Payne 14.5 hit pretty easily. And overall, I'm happy with where the Suns are at. We just need to go to game 3 and see what happens. I kind of agree with Tyler. I think the Clippers probably take the game 3, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Suns won either.
All right, let's go around the panel and just answer Travis's question real quick. My answer is no Kawhi Leonard this whole series. Tyler, what do you think? Will Kawhi Leonard play? That wasn't as quick as I had hoped.
The mute button's on, Tyler.
Yeah, it's like on and off.
I don't think you see him.
What about you, JSU?
I mean, I don't think you see him. It seems kind of it seems like a stretch. Like I said this before, like whether he sprained it, whether he tore. I mean, if he tore something, there's no friggin' way. Even if he sprained it, a sprain takes a couple of weeks. So.
But why haven't we heard anything, JC? Like, why is it just not like over? Like,
I mean, maybe he did sprain it, and they're praying that
sprain.
His body can miraculously recover. And I mean, he is a freak athlete, right? Like these are NBA athletes we're talking about, so they probably recover at a little higher rate than like if me or Mangone went out there and sprained our ACL. Like we would definitely take the full, normal couple of weeks for it to heal, and we would need the rest. And they're getting treatment on their body like every day. So I mean, maybe they're holding out hope that by game 5, if it gets there, like he can give it a go. But man, the series feels like it's going to end in 4 or 5, so he doesn't have much more time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think the Clippers will get a better performance at home. We know Marcus Morris shooting splits are absolutely absurd, the difference between the home road. So that'll be a lot of fun. But we will be going over that tomorrow. Let us jump into tonight's game. This line is out to 8, and a lot of people don't think Milwaukee runs away with it. I'm leaning towards a low-scoring game that I think the Hawks cover in. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, and we will start with you, Tyler. 8 points. That kind of surprised me. I thought the line was going to be between 4 and 6. What are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, 8 is a lot here, and I've jumped back and forth on this game all morning. Mm-hmm. It's like the Hawks is a dog. Seems like the spot here, but Bogdanovich being injured kind of scares me. Also, I want to hear your guys' take on this. How are the Hawks going to guard this Bucks team? Because I don't know how they match up with them. Are they going to put Collins on Lopez and let Capella try and keep Giannis side of the paint? Are they going to let Lopez drag Capella out of the paint and Collins has to go one-on-one with them? It's just a weird matchup, I think. I'm also worried that the Bucks were just fighting for their life against what everyone thought was the best team in the world. Mm-hmm. And now they might be relieved, taking a sigh, like a deep breath, and now they walk in here, play a lot easier of a matchup. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him hang like a $130. So, I mean, it's a tough spot, I think.
I mean, JSU, I think you got to say something. In the Brooklyn series, they were all on one player. I think the Hawks are much more balanced than that Brooklyn team was. What do you expect for tonight?
Well, let's be honest. I think in the Nets series, Drew Holiday, who's obviously their best on-ball defender, he struggled to slow down Kyrie, obviously KD, but Kyrie, Harden was injured. But I think in this series, he is physical enough, big enough where he can kind of get into Trae Young a little bit and give him some issues where I didn't think, people thought that could happen with the Nets. I didn't think so because, I'm sorry, Trae Young and Kyrie Irving, they're not the same. Kyrie Irving is, I think Trae Young is a great scorer, but Kyrie Irving is the elite of offensive isolation players. KD, elite. Trae Young is getting there. He's not there yet, though. And so, I think Drew Holiday can slow him down enough to where if those secondary pieces like John Collins and Gallinari, Kevin Huerter. Look at what Kevin Huerter had to do to for them to kind of win that game when Trey had a bad game. Like, are you going to expect that out of Kevin Huerter going forward if Trey has another bad game? Like, I don't know if he can do that again, especially against the Bucks. This is going to be a way tougher matchup for them. So I feel like the line is forcing people to consider Atlanta here. Whereas I think this game is a blowout, to be honest with you.
Wow.
I think the Bucks spanked them first game out. And I know it's tough at 8.5, but I do feel like it's going to end up being a blowout. This is a terrible matchup for Atlanta. Maybe Mangone, who's been on Atlanta, I think he's had the best feel for Atlanta out of everyone on this panel. Maybe he can sway me in a different direction, but I just think Milwaukee is just leaps and bounds defensively. They're going to give them so many more issues defensively. Philly was a fraud defensively, in my opinion, and I said it all year. I said wait until the playoffs, and we saw that. Fraudulent.
There we go. Those are some hot takes. Travis, jump in. What do you think?
Yeah, first of all, JSU, call him by his proper name. It's not Kevin Huerter, it's Kayvon Huerter, as they call him.
I refuse to give him that nickname. I refuse to. One game and the dude gets a nickname, all of a sudden, John Collins is wearing the T-shirt of him dunking over Embiid, and he gets Kayvon as a nickname.
JSU, it's his alter ego. When he is, some days at practice, they say he's Kevin. Some days he's Kayvon. It depends.
Well, I think he's Kevin in this series. Kayvon may have been in the Philly series. Kevin will be in this series. That's my go-to lean here.
Well, that's very hurtful and disrespectful to my boy Kayvon. I was very happy to see him, flourish and play really well. I hope he can continue to. The one thing I think really does play, there's a couple things with this series, right? So the first thing is I am very curious what happens with Trey versus Drew, right? Trae Young is really talented. If this was Luka, you know what everyone would be saying? Oh, Luka, he's just so talented. It doesn't matter. He's matchup proof. Maybe Trae Young is matchup proof. I don't know. I'm still definitely trying to think this through because I think Drew could have some problems and really cause issues for that offense because it does start with Trae Young, right? I mean, he has to play well in order for them to advance if that's going to happen. Second, the three-point shooting, right? That's something that the Bucks give up a ton, and that's something that the Hawks do thrive at. So I'm not sleeping on Atlanta completely. I think that, it opened at plus 400 for the series price on the Hawks. I think it's now down to plus 375. I think that is some type of value because if these games are close, let's say the Hawks can do enough to keep games close. I don't have confidence in Milwaukee to get the job done. Now, I am curious what happens with a Capella on a Giannis because, in the paint, sure, Capella can do his best to cause as many problems for Giannis, but Giannis isn't like a guy like Embiid, right? I know Giannis can't exactly shoot the best, but this is a matchup where if Capella sags too much and Giannis starts making shots, then it's all going to fall apart for Atlanta. So it's a very interesting series that I can't wait to watch. And my main matchup that I'm looking at the most is Drew versus Trey. If Drew can really shut down Trey or just limit him to a point where he's having troubles getting open shots and a lot of his shots are difficult shots, I think it's going to be a tougher series for them. But I kind of want to see what happens with this series before I make too many bets, but I am going to put a little bit on the series price before just because I think Atlanta, I don't want to sleep on them. I mean, people slept on them every series. They've won me enough money where I can take a shot. I'm not going out there and putting all of my money on them, but I wouldn't hate that. And I think sitting on the sidelines during game ones and live betting is not the worst idea. And just seeing how the game is playing out and then jumping in on a line that you think is best. I don't know how you feel about that spread, but that's how I typically feel in a lot of game ones.
I'm actually the opposite. I actually think that the best chance for the books making a mistake is in the game one with the brand new matchup. And Tyler and I talked about it before we came on. There wasn't a lot of tape available from the regular season that would help you handicap this game. The first game, Lloyd Pierce was the coach. Trae Young missed 2 of the games. There wasn't really a lot for us to go on. So maybe if you're not sure, for example, the Clippers Suns, I was a little less sure. This one I feel a little stronger about. And one of the things I feel strongly about is the total, and I want to hear your thoughts. I think that we see a low-scoring game. I think that we'll get a lot of feeling out. I think the rotations will be deeper, which means we'll see less time with the dynamic shot creators on the floor. And I think there will be some nerves and maybe some slow-paced play as these teams try to figure each other out.
Spread, if you think it's going to be deeper rotations, which is possible, how do you not like maybe that the Hawks 8.5 over the Bucks? Because the Bucks aren't deep at all. I mean, they definitely are going to have some struggles, and like Atlanta's pretty deep. Like, again, I've talked about it. They have a lot of different ways that they can beat you through different looks and players. So I don't know. It makes me like the Atlanta side a little more hearing you talk about it.
I do lean towards the Atlanta side. I was worried though when I'm on the opposite side of JSU because he's had his finger on most of these series for the whole playoffs here.
Can I say something real quick? So I want to know with Mangone. So you said 3-point shooting is going to be a big deal, which I agree with. Doesn't it scare you that Atlanta's maybe second best 3-point shooter in Bogdanovich is injured?
Yeah,
and, I mean, he's a game-time decision, and
yes.
he only played 21 minutes last time. And let me tell you right now, Gallinari is if he's hitting his threes, he might maybe be a plus on the court, but Milwaukee is going to attack him as much as possible. You don't think they're going to look at him and try and just like green light go with some of these guys like Giannis? He can't stay in front of Giannis. Like, he's going to sag big time off of Giannis. And I don't know if they even try and put him on Giannis, but my point is, if you don't, where do you put him? Do you put him on Brook Lopez and I don't know where Gallo fits. Does he fit like where no matter when he's on the court, he's on the center? Because if I'm them, I take a center off and I play whenever I see Gallo on the floor, I would play Giannis at the 5, and I wouldn't have a center on the floor. Just to expose Gallo, make him get on the perimeter and guard somebody.
Yeah, that would be smart to do. I do have concerns with the Bogdanovich injury, right? But I don't know the exact extent of it, right? Like, I don't know if he's going to be okay or not. Like, he is a game-time decision. And, man, like, DeAndre Hunter was a great example, right? Like, we thought DeAndre Hunter would be back in this series, and then, like, he just out of nowhere was out for the year, right? So, like, who knows? That could obviously happen here with Bogdanovich, or he could, get healthier. Also, the one thing that's nice for the Hawks, like, the Hawks aren't going to win this in 4 or anything like that, right? So sitting Bogdanovich in game 1 isn't the worst idea if you do think that he's going to come back. Like, this is going to be a dogfight. I think it's going to be one of those series where if you are Atlanta and you happen to steal one, great. But, like, hey, if you don't win the first 2, you can easily take care of business at home. But Bogdanovich's health is very important. I would not push him back until game 3 if he's not healthy, because that is going to be very important. Bogdanovich is key because if Trae Young does get, absolutely destroyed by Drew Holiday defense, you need that secondary ball handler to be able to get the job done. And the only guy that I trust to be able to do that throughout a 7-game sample is Bogdanovich. I mean, I love Kayvon Herter. I don't know if I trust him to be able to do that for 4 games to get the job done. And like Lou Williams too, right? Like, Lou Williams is not going to be able to consistently do that. The guy that can consistently do that, and that's why I thought the Hawks have been such a nice threat, is they had Trae Young on one side and Bogdanovich, a guy that you can kick it to as well at the guard position that can actually get the job done and is way more underrated than people think. So that's definitely something that I think is very important. Bogdanovich's health is going to be key.
Tyler, I'm leaning towards the under on this total of 226. What are your thoughts on the total?
Yeah, I agree on the under here. I think both teams come in kind of fatigued. I mean, they both just went through grueling 7-game series, and both of them last game 7s, we've seen starters play heavy minutes on both sides. Mm-hmm. I think you kind of see just like the Clippers did. I mean, the Clippers only did get 36 hours of rest, so that was kind of partly for that deeper rotation in game 1. But I think, just like you said, this is going to be like a feel-out game for both sides. I think you see Milwaukee try and see which one of their bench guys they can use here in like Forbes and Portis and them guys. And I just think you see some of those deeper Atlanta guys touch the floor too. So, I mean, I like the under here.
And JSU, I know we're opposite sides on the side, but hey, to me, if you think it's a blowout, that correlates to my under. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It definitely correlates to the under. So I'm with you there. I don't know, though. I come back to, I see a lot of people talking about the depth of the Hawks. Well, if all these guys are hurt or injured, the depth is not actually there. Like, I think it's a poor take. I think it's a terrible take Does Milwaukee have depth? No, they don't have very many good players on their bench. But my point is, you're acting like it's like this, like one is here and the other is down here. No, if all these Atlanta guys are injured, like Bogdanovich, where now Gallo is playing starter minutes, where Gallo was coming off the bench as like a sixth man who can score a little, especially against a lot of the second units of a lot of the teams. Okay, Cam Reddish is questionable, but he hasn't played yet at all. So I'm sure there's a ton of rust there, but let's just take him out because he hasn't played at all. DeAndre Hunter's been out. Where is the depth? Lou Williams, Tony Snell, they only play Lou Will like 10 or 15 minutes. They rarely run him out there for longer. I think they did it in one game against Philly. But other than that, they haven't really been letting him go more than 10 or 15 minutes. So I don't know, Okongwu, like someone show me the depth, unless all these injured guys are going to for sure play. I don't get it. I think it's a bad take.
Well, if Bogdanovich is in, that obviously helps their depth out a ton. But
but he's clearly not healthy.
I mean, we'll see.
He was in last game and played 21 minutes.
Yeah, but that's what happens when Kevon Huerter gets rolling, right? You know, you don't want the ball in Bogdanovich's hand.
That's what happens
on this nickname.
That's what happens when Kevon Huerter gets going.
JSU, so I have this is the question that everyone has been waiting for on the show. I want you to rank the revenge the revenge narrative rankings for this series. We have a lot of revenge in this series, JSU. Okay, we have Bogdanovich revenge on both sides. Right, was supposed to be a Buck, said no, I don't want to go to the Bucks, and now is on the Hawks. Right, so. That there was that trade thing. We have Jeff Teague revenge. Who doesn't love some Jeff Teague revenge, JSU, even though he'll probably get 0 minutes. And another guy who might get 0 minutes. What do we think about Tony Snell revenge, JSU? I mean, that's got to be the revenge of all revenge.
Did you not even bring up Budenholzer?
So you left out the main
event. Coach to take the Hawks to the ECF.
You let off the worst coach left in the friggin' playoffs. All this revenge, I don't even know. I mean, Bogdanovich has to be the top. Like, that is pretty good. He declines going with Milwaukee, says, I don't want to go there. He ends up in Atlanta, and now he ends up facing Milwaukee in the Eastern Conference Finals.
And how do the Bucks feel on the other side? They're like, you didn't want to come play with us, so now they want to get on. I mean, there's just so much revenge there, JSU. This is your kind of series.
I mean, yeah, this is I think they put it on him in the front. I'm telling you, Bogdanovich is clearly not healthy. Him being a game-time decision should tell you everything you need to know about his health and the fact that he only played 21 minutes last game. He was clearly banged up during that game. And, I mean, you saw it. Like, if he's going to be hampered in this game again, even 21 minutes of Bogdanovich, if he's not healthy, it's not as good, obviously, and you saw it. So, I don't see where Atlanta has the big advantage in this game outside of like Giannis playing like an idiot trying to shoot threes like he did in one of those games against the Nets where he was launching from three. And I was like, what is this dude doing? He's giving the Nets this game. Like, he needs to just be aggressive the entire game, go to the hole, maybe take some of those mid-range jumpers just to keep him honest, but man, no one can stop you. You're so big and so long. Like, the dude just needs to keep attacking. He should never be settling for shots.
That was one thing you give him credit for. In the Brooklyn series, he figured it out. His average length of his shot went down by like 8 feet. It went from like 13 feet in game 1 to like 5 feet. And I didn't see the game 7 numbers.
Budenholzer probably said to him, right?
Stop
at
settling.
Some point. Yeah, I think that's something he said to him at some point.
Yeah, this isn't the NFL. You don't take what the defense gives you. You on offense dictate your matchup and how you want things. I
mean, I think Giannis plays with these guys like KD, and he wants it so bad. Like, you could tell Giannis tries. Like, he works on his game. You can see it. Like, you can see that he's gotten a lot better, and he wants it so bad, but at the same time, it's like, dude, you don't need to do that to be effective. Like, just perfect what you have right now. Work on the offseason, what you still are, struggling to do, and then practice it again during the regular season, not during the playoffs. Like, this is the time where you go with your money shots right here. You go with what you can do.
Yeah. One thing I'll jump on here, right? And so we love to run down Bud, this and that, right? Bud doesn't do coaching. I mean, I think it's to the point where this is way overblown. Like our idea that this guy just can't coach. I mean, he's in the playoffs again, right? I mean, we can say his adjustments aren't that good. That's fine, right? But he's doing all the other things the team needs. The player development's been there. The offensive system's been there. And I mean, this team is talented, right? But is it like overwhelmingly talented? So, I mean, I'd even agree with you to say that he's the worst coach remaining, but he's still, I mean, at this point, we kind of got to give him credit. Would you guys agree, or is he just getting carried by Giannis?
I mean, you won't have me defend him, so
I'm not defending him.
Yeah.
I mean, so what does he have to do? If he wins the title this year, is he still the worst coach in the league?
No, I mean, I don't think he's the worst coach in the league, but I definitely still think he's a poor coach.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's getting, listen, that team is a stacked team. Drew Holiday, Middleton's now, you can make the case that Middleton, it takes a little off of his shoulders to where it's not all him as the number 2, even though
it is because there's another shot creator. Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So like it does help. I mean, their team is built solid. But
at the same time, it's not like they have this big 3, right? I mean, like Drew Holiday's probably not going to make an all-star team for the rest of his career.
Yeah, but I don't think that actually puts to what Drew Holiday does on the court. I think it's unfair to do that because Ben Simmons was an all-star, and that's because, to be an all-star, you have to stat pad, and that's not Drew Holiday's thing. Drew Holiday does so much on the floor that I don't think will go into just stat padding. And the problem is he's also on a team with Giannis who stat pads and Middleton just jack shots. Like, I don't know. I think it's a bad comparison because I would take Drew Holiday over a few of those all-stars personally on my team. So, and no one can tell me that like Ben Simmons is better than Drew Holiday. I think we'd all agree on this panel. Who would you take? Would you take Drew Holiday or Ben Simmons if you had to take one of them?
Yeah. I mean, as of right now, right?
But I would have done it then. You could have asked me the day after the All-Star game, who would you take? I would have taken Drew. Like, I don't think it's a question. And it shouldn't be a question.
I mean, this is pretty impressive that we still managed to sneak some Ben Simmons slander in here. So credit to you for that one, JSU.
I'm sorry, I can't help myself.
No, I love it. I mean, that's what drives the ratings. So we talked right before you went on. You were one off from the lineup today. So let's help some people out and start talking about where we should be going with today's looks here in this showdown captain mode slate. Giannis at captain, or do we need to get different? What do you think, Travis?
Oh man, so it depends on like if Bogdanovich is out, right? Like that is going to be really key to what we do with.
Well, let's just assume he plays. I think that he'll play.
Okay,
I don't know. He'll get a ton of minutes, but he'll.
Yeah, because if he didn't, right, that would open up that would make other guys better plays where they're like more intriguing captain options on the Hawks, depending on. Again, what you think is going to happen in the game? Like, which team do you think is going to win? Of course, Giannis captain, always good. He's a great fantasy point per minute kind of guy. Would not fault you at all for playing him as your captain. Trae Young, if you think they're going to win, right? Like, that's a guy that he probably has to have a big game in order for them to win, unless you think Kayvon is showing up. Don't think he is going to have a massive game again. I do think that he's an interesting guy to mix in throughout your lineups, right? In the utility slot. The only thing I worry about him is price has gone up, and like people might be putting him in there because of recency bias, right? So maybe I'll look at some other players could be in play. Since we think it's going to be more of a feel-out series, right? Lou Williams can pay a 2.6K price tag off in 9 minutes, right? I mean, he can go out there and make enough buckets where he's going to be an interesting value to go to. I lean kind of trying to go maybe Middleton as my captain. Either him or Giannis, because I think those are two of the best options. I think you're going to see a lot of Drew using a ton of energy on the defensive end. So I think that if you go to, Giannis or Middleton, I think those are like the two captain options that make the most sense if you're talking from like an optimal build perspective. It'd be Giannis or Middleton.
JSU, who do you think that you would like in your captain slot tonight?
Yeah, so I was just thinking too, with PJ Tucker starting in the Nets series. I don't think he will start in this series. I don't think it makes sense, right? The series before they started Connaughton, I'm pretty sure, against the Heat.
Yeah,
so
I wouldn't be
I wouldn't be shocked if they went back to Connaughton in this series. Because who's PJ Tucker? Like, who's he bodying in this one? I don't see where he fits in, I guess. Like, right, with Brook Lopez on Capella and Giannis on Collins, where PJ Tucker probably won't start. So he'll see less run for sure. And I would assume that definitely bumps up Connaughton. Maybe it bumps up like Forbes a little too, and some of those other guys. But I don't know. So I don't see Atlanta winning this game. And I'm kind of going with more of my blowout take. And we've talked about this on the premium shows with me and Big T, where it's like, if you have a game script and you have a way you think this game is going, regardless of what way that is, you should be building your lineups catering towards that game script. So what I mean by that is I think Milwaukee blows this game out. I think they win. So we could possibly see, in my game script, we could possibly see blowout run for some of these scrubs. So in my build, maybe I haven't built anything yet, so I don't know. But maybe I can build like a Giannis captain with I can still fit in Trey in the util spot, because even though I don't think they win and I think they blow out, Trey could still end up being the winner if a double scrub build works out. So I could play like the 3 studs and then punt with a 1K guy or something like that. Like maybe I like Okongwu, who maybe he gets probably 10 minutes, right? He gets probably like 10 minutes if the game's close, but maybe in a blowout, he gets 15 to 18 minutes at 1K.
Yeah,
so
for your script, that's good.
If you're building that script out, you can fit in those 3 guys with a 1K guy and then have like maybe, I don't know if Lou Williams, he probably doesn't get blowout run, but he's still cheap, like Mangone said. Pat Connaughton's cheap. I think Bobby Portis may see some run in this series. I don't think he fit with PJ Tucker in the last series, but he might play more in this series. So it's all about the game script and how you want to build it out. Now, if you're betting Atlanta, I'm gonna take it an opposite way. If you're building showdown lineups and you're betting Atlanta, you think that Atlanta covers or you think they win, and you're betting that way, you should be building showdown lineups that way. So you should be playing Trae Young captain. You should be playing, maybe you think John Collins has a big game. I think that it's possible they sag off of him a lot and let him shoot those corner threes. So maybe you think he has a big game, or Gallinari if you think Bogdanovich is hurt. I would be playing a captain from Atlanta, though, if you're betting them to win for sure. All right. And then I'd be bringing it back with Giannis, because you're also betting that it's probably a close game. Even though you think the Hawks win, it's probably a close game. So I would want Giannis as well. So again, it's all about how your game script goes, but you should be building showdown lineups that way.
Yeah, I love it. So, and remember, you can tune into the countdown show over at runpuresports.com. What's the promo code right now, JSU, if they want to go ahead and join if they're not already members?
Yeah, RPS Heater 25. We'll get you 25% off your first month's payment, or use the code GetBets, and you get the bet side for free. So
right, and today that's also combined with the Major League Baseball showdown, right? So it's just kind of a free for all there. But a lot of fun, and Holden does a great job hosting that. Tyler, request for you to jump in here. Props, says Eric Sheng. What do you got for me?
I mean, looking at this game, it's kind of tough because, just like you said, it's going to be a feel-out game. We're not really sure on the rotations. But looking at Chris Middleton's game ones in these playoffs, he took 22 shots in game 1 against Miami, and then 23 shots in game 1 against Brooklyn. I think he gets somewhere around there again. He should draw the easiest matchup outside of Giannis getting Capella on the outside. Because, I mean, who are they going to put on him? Huter? he can't guard him. If Gallinari comes in, he can't guard him on the outside, and they really have no wings for him. So if that shot's falling, he could put up 30 plus tonight. So I mean, I don't really like it, but his 30 plus and Milwaukee wins at plus 360, I think is worth a shot. But the 25 plus and him win the game, I think is the bet.
All right. I like that too. And you know what I was thinking as you're doing that breakdown, right? With Reddish and Hunter both being out, kind of giving me that Utah vibe out there on the perimeter.
Yeah, they don't have the defensive
they
wings.
Can be taken advantage of. I don't know if you took a look at it, JSU. I know that you're more on the DFS side, but obviously it correlates pretty easily. Do you have any props that you're going to give out?
Yeah, let's pull up the prop page now. Go, Mangone, do you have a prop you want to give up? Well, I pull it up right now.
I do. So it plays to the narrative that if Bogdanovich is out or if he's not even healthy, right? Like, let's say he doesn't play as many minutes. We'll say that Kayvon Huerter shows up tonight and we get assists though. We got 2.5 assists as the line. I mean, he got 3 and 4 in the last 2 games, right? Where Bogdanovich had been more banged up. Also, sure, they leave open 3-point shooters, but Huerter might be the guy that they don't let shoot. And there might be a lot of kickouts to the corner, right? When he's on the wing. So I think Huerter makes a ton of sense. That 2.5 line I don't think is the best. So I'll go with the over on assists at 2.5 for Huerter.
All right, I like that play. JSU, did you find anything that caught your eye that kind of correlated with the game script that you were talking about earlier?
Yeah, so one thing I think that's going to be key in the series is Drew Holiday, and not just Drew Holiday's defense, but whenever you're facing a really good player on one end, I think one thing that coaches should be pushing is attacking that same guy on the other end. And I think Drew Holiday's offensive game, you might see a big offensive series from Drew Holiday.
You don't think they'll hide Trey on Connaughton or Forbes?
They might. They might, but they're going to try and they might try and put Trey in the corner. But either way, I think Drew Holiday is going to be super aggressive in this series. Because if that's the case, okay, so they have Kevin Huerter, they have Bogdanovich on one leg. Who are they putting on Drew Holiday that you're afraid of? I mean, I'm not afraid of Kevin Huerter. He just played Seth Curry. Like, I mean, there's a huge difference in Drew Holiday.
Let me send the link to JT Hayes right now. I think we need some Tony Snell action here.
No. Stop it. I think Drew Holiday goes over this number. They have it at 18.5 right now. I see 20-plus points for Drew in this game. And I think he's going to be the key to this series overall, defensively and offensively. If he does have Trey on him at all in this game, he's going to attack. Like I think, and if he doesn't, I still don't see anyone that they can put on him that's gonna have success guarding him. Like I said, I don't think any of those guys can have success against Drew Holiday. They're not gonna be able to bully him like Kevin Huerter, tried to, push around Seth Curry. And Seth Curry still on the perimeter was really good, but Drew Holiday will go right at him. He won't just do it on the perimeter. It's like Drew Holiday is not a one-trick pony like Seth Curry was. So if they do put Kevin Huerter on him, Kevin Huerter he knew what Seth Curry was going to do. Seth Curry's just really good at shooting. Drew Holiday, he can shoot, he can drive, he can do it all. So it's a much tougher matchup either way.
All right. Well, guys, this is fantastic. About 40 minutes there of power-packed information, and we got the segment that everybody loves, Best Bets. Tyler, we will start with you. Best bet today, side total or prop?
Yeah, I'm going to roll with that Chris Middleton, 25-plus points, and Milwaukee wins this game at plus 160.
I like it. JSU, what do you got for us? Best bet today, side total or prop?
I mean, I kind of like the under bet that you called because it does coincide with my blowout theory here. And, we talked about the under on the show last time and it hit. I'm going to roll with the under here spread. I think that's going to be what you lean with too, but I'm rolling with you. We're riding together here, spread.
Yeah, and so I think that we're only doing one game. It's kind of fair that we could take the same pick. Travis, go ahead. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I mean, I went with a prop yesterday, campaign. We'll go back with another prop. Yeah. We'll go with Mr. Kayvon Huerter. We'll go with the over 2.5 assists. Hopefully he gets the job done and he flourishes like the star he is, JSU AirPod.
Kayvon Huerter. If Kayvon, I'll tell you right now, if he wins this series, I'll never call him Kevin Huerter again. If he wins this series, I'll never call him Kevin Huerter again.
I appreciate that. And Jason, did you see the video? There was one out there. It was a video of it was kind of like a Hawks hype video when they were beating up the Sixers, showing some highlights. And then all of a sudden it cuts to a Rick Roll video, and it's then all Huerter just shooting shots, right? Because he literally looks just like him in the video. It was so amazing. So if you haven't seen it, Jason, I'll have to send that to you.
Yeah, you'll have to send it to me.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you very much. We'll be back tomorrow. I will check and see if we got Hoop and Title. Tyler, are you here with us tomorrow? I know you told me your schedule. I forgot it.
Yeah, I'll be here.
All right. Well, Eric Chang will be happy about that, which means more props no matter what. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us at JSU. We'll be looking forward to watching you on the final countdown today as you give out the DFS winners. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and run pure.